So my name is Stephen Hendry and I am the Volunteering Development Manager for Reading Voluntary Action. So Reading Voluntary Action are an organisation that supports charities and not-for-profit organisations in the Reading area. So everything from tiny little charities working in their local communities trying to make a difference, up to kind of household name charities, people like Age UK, but they're regional bodies, so Age UK Berkshire, Age UK Reading, those sorts of organisations. And the kind of support that Reading Voluntary Action provides is legal and governance support, representation, so talking to statutory agencies, statutory bodies, saying about what the charities are doing and the difference they can make to people. And then my personal area of expertise, volunteer recruitment, so helping organisations benefit from volunteers and making sure they're able to support those volunteers once they're in post. And then going out and talking to people and saying, get involved in charity work, come and be a volunteer and make a difference. So, I mean, the charity sector is incredibly varied. So there are all sorts of different organisations doing all sorts of different work. Your kind of straight professional skills are required in the voluntary sector. So things like finance skills, people with business experience, all of that is required. Then maybe straight things like if you're a psychologist and you've done counselling and that sort of stuff, those professional skills are still required. I think what's probably certainly at that low local level, small, medium-sized charities, what's really important is the qualities that you bring. From my experience, you're going to be doing all sorts of different jobs. It's not you come in, you do your thing, and then you go home. Small charities, you could be doing 15 different jobs a day. So that kind of flexibility is incredibly important. Initiative, being able to go in, see what needs doing, and doing it, incredibly important. And resilience, especially at that kind of smaller to medium-sized charity level. You will get knockbacks when you're kind of building your career. Project funding only lasts for a certain amount of time. You may have to move around a bit, but if you really want to work in the charity sector, I think that resilience and that ambition to go and be flexible can make a real difference. Well, I mean, I think here at Reading, they have all sorts of different opportunities to volunteer. I know the university do all sorts of different schemes where people can go out and do volunteering. And obviously at Reading Voluntary Action, we're keen to help help students to engage with the local community. There's all sorts of different opportunities out there, and it really depends on what the person wants to get out of volunteering. So yes, there are all sorts of career benefits, which I think we're going to talk about, to volunteering, but also just meeting new people, getting out into the community and seeing what's out there can be really eye-opening. And in terms of your future development, being able to see things from different perspectives is so important. So if they're thinking, if they've made that decision that they want to work in the charity sector, I think there are things you can do whilst you're still an undergraduate before graduation to make that more likely. I think volunteering is part of the answer. I think what it shows a future charitable employer, and the charity sector is incredibly competitive, is that you have that level of dedication. But more importantly, it allows a person to use that experience to create what I would call a kind of compelling narrative of themselves. So actually, it's not I'm rocking up to the charity sector and I think, I want to do this, but there's no kind of background or experience. You can say, while I was an undergraduate, I did this amazing work with this amazing project, and that inspired me to do this, and now I'm here and I've graduated and I need to find a career, and I understand what it is to work in a charity. So I think one of the things to be really clear about is that there is no easy route from volunteering to employment, or no straight route. So if you want to work for an organisation, don't assume that you're going to volunteer there for a few months and then all of a sudden there'll be a paid position. It's not really how it works. Much more importantly, I think, is particularly at that kind of local and regional level, go and do some volunteering which A, you think will help with your future career, but B, that you like, that you can get passionate about, that you're going to enjoy doing, because that kind of experience allows you to talk about it, but also helps you connect with others in the sector already. You're more likely to find out about those jobs if you're connecting with other people working in the local charity sector than if you're just kind of fishing around for things. I mean, I think it comes back to that idea of a consistent narrative, a compelling narrative. So if you're passionate at something and you want to do something, okay, great. Make that difference, do something. It's great to be passionate about, of course, but maybe think about, actually, what is it I can do practically, which is going to make some sort of difference. So, for example, an example from my own past, I was my studies were around environmentalism, and I had particular concerns around the UK's nuclear weapon programme. So, as an individual, I'm very much pro nuclear disarmament, but that's a massive cause and there's a massive issue. So my part in that was to become a volunteer administrator for a local organisation working on disarmament issues. So, okay, you're really passionate about this massive cause, but actually, if you can then go and do something, even if it isn't the most exciting thing in the world, you can then tell that to an employer further down the line. It's not that I just care about this, it's that I care about it and I've done something.